When I say a scared man, I really mean one that takes you on a roller coaster ride. Like he goes deep into his extremes. He takes you up, he takes you down, he comes closer, he runs away, he disappears, then he comes back a week later, months later. Hey, I want to be with you again. And then the cycle starts all over again. He reels you in. Then once you're reeled in, he pushes you away, he runs away. And that is who I'm calling the scared man. I actually heard a guy talk about that cycle that he often takes women through. And I think you can now not outgame a man. For most of us, we think of that as gameplay, and we're focusing on the man. I think because men have testosterone, women have estrogen, we as women are more prone to coming close to you. I think a man is more prone to pushing away, needing his freedom, his independence. And whether you're male or female, you're going to experience some come close to me, get away from me, roller coaster within yourself. The question is, what do you do about it? If you're dating somebody and they are yanking you way up, then way down, they're coming close to you, reeling you in, and then disappearing. I used to hate it when people would say, don't let them know that it bothers you. Don't show it. Don't react to it. Act like you're not bothered or that you don't care. Don't let him play games with you. Don't allow them to affect you. My question is, how can you not allow that to affect you? If you're falling for someone, you want a straightforward relationship that is at least easy when it comes to we like each other, we're enjoying each other, we get each other, this is fun, this is working, and not this is working and now you're doing a 380 and you're going in the opposite direction when things are going well. How can you not be affected by that? And the reason I'm saying that is because I really do believe in keeping it real. Like, why do we have to be fake? Why do we have to pretend? If you're getting consistency and then all of a sudden you get inconsistency. Now, sometimes you're really getting inconsistency, but you are imagining and you're gluing pieces together to make things right when they were never right because you're desperate. You're desperate for love. You've been hurt before. You don't want to feel a breakup or someone pulling away from you, especially if you're fearful avoidant. You are going to be very sensitive to rejection. You're going to be looking for it. You're going to be imagining it. So it's a difficult component of your makeup. So once again, the question is, how do you handle it? If I'm telling you that it's very difficult to act like you don't care when you deeply care, so you're trying to lie to yourself, that backfires. You probably are setting yourself up to really act a fool, make a fool of yourself, go crazy by telling yourself to do the opposite of what you feel and expecting that to work very easily. It is not, because your emotions are real and the way you're feeling is very strong, it's very powerful. There are so many hormones and chemicals that are at play that are creating the intensity that you feel. To say, I'm going to just shut that off, it doesn't work that way. So how do you deal with it? I think you deal with it by understanding some dynamics that are happening. So we're talking about the scared guy. He is running. He is afraid of his feelings. He's feeling too close. He's freaked out. Now I got to get away. He's pulling back. It could also be his intimacy cycle. Some men, when they get close, they need to pull away. They need to feel their freedom again. And then they come a lot closer to you. And then they pull away. You are still having to deal with this dynamic of how do you handle it, because you're dealing with a quote unquote scared man. Now, some of these men might just be players. They might not be pulling back so hard out of fear. They might just be dating a million different women and they get their ego stroked by being players, by hurting women, by making them feel bad. Because oh, look, this woman really wants me. That feels so good. And I'm trying to create this reaction in her because it feels good to me. It validates my ego. I think if you're one of those kind of guys, you need to figure out, why do you need your ego stroked in that way? And you are still dealing with a human being. We all have to be responsible for what we do to other people. Here's the other caveat: nobody can gameplay like a man. So if you're getting the advice that, oh, he's playing you, will you play him? And it's not to say that women can't get in some really strong zingers. However, is that our natural cadence? Is that our natural flow? It's not. We are not as competitive as men. We're not groomed that way. We're not interested in that. We don't even like multiple dating. I think we might go through a phase where we're entertaining that, but we don't like wasting our time that way. We're super busy. So just dating a lot of people, it doesn't work for us very well because we also get very attached and we just rather be doing something else with our time. What is the benefit from that for us? For men, the benefit is sex. If they're dating multiple women, they get the benefit of that. Now, some women might say, well, I like it as much as he likes it, but we've also been conditioned to be called SLUTs when we are getting it on with too many partners. We get shamed for that. Men still, to this day, they either want a virgin or somebody with a very low body count. There's a double standard. And just the way we handle dating is so different. It's not easy for us to multiple date. The game playing. Game playing, men are pros at it. They are groomed for it. It is their wheelhouse. So if you feel like a man is playing you, or he's doing the push-pull thing and he's doing it really strong for extreme lengths of time, things are great, then they're terrible, he disappears, now he's back again, or he's doing little things, little subtle things. Men are great at gameplay. Some men cheat for sport. Imagine that. So they are the best at that. I personally think you will not outgame a man playing games. Now, you can decide that you're not going to play the games and you can leave, you can end things. But I think if you decide that you're going to keep up with his gameplay, or he got me like that, so I'm going to get him back, it's not going to work. I personally would not advise that. It's kind of like women can verbally run circles around men sometimes, or that's kind of how we're known. A man can outgame you if he wants to. He can have you falling to complete pieces if you think you want to go that route where, okay, you're playing games with me, I'm going to play games with you. His stamina is longer. His stamina is stronger. His gameplay moves, they just work better for how he's built and how he's made. So is that a solution for dealing with the scared man who there is some commitment fears in there? With the avoidant, I'm pulling, I'm running away. Maybe he's feeling his anxious side. I'm feeling like we're getting too close. I'm freaking out. What if this doesn't work? What if I get hurt? I can't handle it. Let me get away from you. I need a break. And I just disappear. I don't explain anything to you. You just know that you're pulling back. If you are fearful avoidant and someone is doing that to you, that's also going to be a very huge trigger, because you're always looking for somebody to pull away, to reject you. And it's like, okay, here we go. They don't stay with me. They don't stick around. Now he's pulling away. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know how to handle this because it doesn't make sense. What gives you strength? You don't want somebody who's scared. You want somebody who's consistent because you're scared. So the two, both of us being scared together is not going to work. We're both going to be acting out. And women can start to act out in a way that can drive a man absolutely crazy. So if you're playing a lot of games with a woman, get ready for Mrs. Clingy to come your way and drive you up a pole and back, because she's going to be acting out. I mean, if she hasn't really worked on herself and pushed through and healed. One thing fearful avoidant can ask themselves is, has this person stopped liking me altogether, or are they just pulling back a little bit? Or is it my attachment style speaking and freaking out? And this person really is showing you consistency, but you're looking at things like honesty, truth telling, needing a moment, or having something that they need to go and do or handle as rejection. Oh, well, I got to work a little bit later today, so I won't be able to call you until 7 instead of 6. And you take that as they're pulling away from me. They're trying to ghost me. They don't want to be with me anymore. So is it that they really have decided that they're not interested in you? I'm freaking out. That's kind of how the fearful avoidant mind works. It's like you really liked me and now all of a sudden you don't like me at all. They can start splitting, which is black and white thinking, instead of a gray area, which is they have spent time with you, they still like you, but they have something else that they need to do. Or maybe they just need a moment away from you. It doesn't mean that they don't like you. They've poured into you, but now they need a moment. But security for a fearful avoidant is the thing that they hate the most, and that is abandonment. You're pulling away from me. You don't like me. You are not with me right now, so that means that you're rejecting me. They kind of are also looking for a way to sabotage the relationship that they have to also be very careful about, because they're always looking for rejection. So if you're looking for it, you can find that in anybody. Think about how you act when there's somebody that you're not interested in, but you really like them. They're the opposite sex. You guys are cool with each other, but you're not laser focused on them. You get other things done. I think the man has to take the lead, and people may argue with that and they may not really understand what that means. And I've heard men in circles saying, you got to be the leader. Women like it when you take charge. It's hard for people to fully understand. I think it's an intuitive concept to let the man lead when we're both adults and we both are capable of making great decisions. I personally think men lead better when it comes to dating in a relationship. They lead much better. I think when women try to lead, it throws everything off. I listened to a couple that was having a problem recently where the situation was set up where the woman was leading the household. The man was a stay-at-home dad who volunteered, and she was always upset because of the way he cleaned the house, the way he did things. It was just reversed, and he couldn't read her mind. He didn't understand. He felt emasculated. It doesn't work very well. It's sort of this intuitive leading. It's like somebody told me they went to one store to buy a washing machine and then they went to a different store, and the experiences were night and day. One experience was total ghetto. It was just no help. It was terrible. And the other place had a system, they had a rhythm, they had a flow, and it worked so smoothly. But you've got somebody leading in both places. One place has leaders that are chaotic. The other ones, they know how to lead in a way that works. So part of being in a relationship is you want a man who understands how to lead in a way that works, that feels good. doesn't mean that he's taking advantage and he's doing things in a way that causes chaos. It's the opposite. He's doing things in a way that gives you a cushion, that makes you feel supported, that makes you feel listened to, cared about. He's pouring into you. He's spending time with you. He's leading the relationship in a way that it flows, that it's building, it's making sense, it's working, it's making a healthy relationship versus somebody who's like, I need you to pay my bills for me. I need you to do all the work, go to work and pay my bills, and we're not even married, we're dating. He's just taking advantage, or I get to cheat on you and do whatever I want. That is not what I'm talking about. It's just that when a woman sometimes tries to take the lead in a relationship, she doesn't have a natural instinct for that. It's kind of like men can date multiple women and it works just fine. If a woman tries to date multiple men, that for most women, it's just not going to work. So I think he has to be the gentleman holding the doors open. If you're holding the doors open for a man, a really masculine man is not going to like that. They're not going to see that as flattery. It's just like men don't really care what your job is or how much money you make. And if you make a lot more than them, they might feel emasculated, but they're not like, oh my gosh, I have this degree and I'm a doctorate. They might be proud of you, but it may not be a requirement. What I'm saying is if you're dating a roller coaster type man, a scared man who is dipping you way up and way down, is he leading in a way that makes you feel safe, that makes you feel comfortable? Those are questions that you need to ask yourself. Or is he leading in a way that's causing you to act out? And you have to separate, am I acting out because I'm sensitive to minute levels of him pulling away? Or is he truly coming to me and then I don't hear from him for 2 weeks, super inconsistent? Or is he very consistent, but every now and then he has a moment where he needs some time away from you? That's totally different. So really tapping into that. Is this guy really playing total games with me? Or is he overall very consistent? Is he doing the best he can? Now, think about if you're leading. If you're the one pulling the train, you're in the front of the train, you're going to have to do more work. So if you see birds flying, they take turns. So one bird, they're flying in a V. The bird in the front usually goes to the back at some point, and another one takes the lead. So you have to understand that if he's trying really hard to make you happy, he's really listening, he's leading in a positive way, he might need to pull back sometimes just to take a little bit of a break, just to think things through. And you want to get in the habit of, when he does pull back, if that's not his normal state and he's been doing great, you don't want to sabotage it by sitting all over him, climbing on his lap when he's trying to take a little bit of a break to process, to rethink. You need that time to process and think things through as well. Of course, people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. You need some time to evaluate, to think about things, to say, okay, how are things going? Let me take a break. Let me pour into myself. Let me get some other things done that I haven't been able to do because we're always together. Let me work through my junk because I'm starting to feel anxious. My anxious side is coming up. How do I calm it down? If you're finding yourself breaking up with people and then jumping into another relationship, you may attract worse and worse and worse. So you might need to force yourself to take a break from dating exercise your avoidant side for a while and letting that side of you marinate so that you're not staying too hard in clingy mode, because men freak out about an unhealthy clingy state. So again, if you're dealing with the scared guy, then you are going to feel extreme emotions. You're going to feel extreme emotional reactions. So you want to check with somebody that you trust, a friend, and just see, hey, he's doing this, he's doing that. What do you think of that? Like, am I have overreacting? Or is this natural or is it unnatural? Because if you're fearful avoidant, you're going to have a heightened sensitivity. You're going to feel stronger emotions on things. So you may be overreacting. If he is pulling away for a month and then coming back a month later, logic tells you that's too much. Or he's pulling away for 2 months and coming back after 2 months, that's too much. Now, if you broke up, let's say you got into an argument and you got upset with each other and you broke up, well, sometimes it can be natural to come back and try it again later. But if it's just this consistent pattern of pulling back way too hard and then coming back, it's an indicator that he's either not interested in you or he needs to do some work to calm down his extreme states. And you may be having the same type of extreme states with people as well. So if he has been consistent and he's just pulling back a little bit, he tells you, I need to take care of a few things, then you want to work on letting him. You want to allow him that space, even though it may be extremely difficult for you to do. If you can do that, you start building trust within him. If you don't go into the clingy state where, no, I'm not giving you any space. No, you can't go to the grocery store tomorrow. You have to be talking to me. Where were you? I didn't hear from you an hour ago. And you do that, that's not cool either. So you want to give it a chance. See if he pulls back a little bit and you allow him to, even though it's so hard because you want to be with him constantly, but you allow him to, you force yourself to, nope, I'm not going to chase him. I'm going to let him go. I'm going to give him the space. I'm going to give him what he's saying. Then it's going to build, it's going to strengthen your relationship. It's going to build trust. It's going to make him want to come closer to you again because you are showing confidence in your relationship, in your interactions. Your confidence says, hey, this is going well. I trust you. I trust you to lead us. You've been kind. You've been consistent. If you need a moment, I'm going to let you have it. That also helps you to strengthen your anxious side. You got to work that anxious muscle and train it to be okay with somebody not being with you 24/7, to give them a little bit of space. Show him that, hey, I can be okay without you. I can find things to do. I can take care of some things that need to be taken care of. Show him that. And a relationship is trial and error. So you don't have to be perfect. You're also learning, you're growing, you're stretching yourself, you're healing at the same time. You're learning to trust him. You're teaching yourself that if he pulls away a little bit, I'm going to teach myself that he's going to come back, that he's not going to just disappear. But you have to show that to yourself. You have to give yourself the chance to learn that and really feel that. He is a good guy and he's an ethical, kind guy, and he gives you some feedback on something, do you take that and say he's rejecting me? Do you take that and say, oh, he's being a jerk. Why is he telling me that I don't need to share that with him, that I can do my own thing? Is there some truth to what he's saying? Can you step back and say, okay, why is he telling me that? Is he telling me that because he wants me to be confident, to trust in myself, to believe in myself and not feel like, well, I can't make any moves without his approval? He might be saying, you can do your own thing. Like, I trust you to do it. You don't have to show me everything to get my approval. That's just an example. So you want to build confidence in yourself and build trust in him that allows him to be himself, that allows him to be able to tell you some truths and to be himself and to be accepted by you when he is himself. Now, that doesn't mean mistreatment or being a doormat. That's not what I'm talking about. It's just about building a relationship muscle that works and not be stuck on everything is rejection. Everything is, he may be a secure attachment style and very healthy, and you are the one that's having these knee-jerk reactions and you're projecting it onto him. So I'm just trying to help you to establish what you want in a relationship and what works and what feels right and what might also be a skewed way of thinking versus this is really a scared guy who is pulling away for long periods of time. And then as soon as he comes back, I'm all over him because, oh my gosh, he's triggered my anxious side. It's about working through your junk. It's about if he steps back, you step back and evaluate and work through your own things, your own junk. So I hope this helps somebody. I'll probably think of something else after I end the video, but I'm just saying flow. Sometimes go with the grain and not go against it, because your natural tendency might be to go against it because you're defensive, because you're in protection mode. And instead, try going with some things. Try allowing him to lead. Try not creating an argument out of everything because you're freaking out. Try to go with the flow. So if he is freaked out and he's trying to bait you, like sometimes fearful avoidance can be good at baiting people. I'm trying to make you break up with me. I'm trying to make you dump me. I'm trying to start an argument. I'm trying to pick you apart or get on your nerves or do something to make you angry. If you have, I'm not saying that he gets to just do something terrible to you. Like, let's say he takes your sweater and he steps all over it. Well, we know that's a blatant sign of disrespect. I'm not talking about blatant disrespect. I'm talking about, he might be feeling a little unnerved because getting close to somebody can be scary. So maybe he acts out a little bit. Maybe let him act out a little bit. Go with it. Don't react with, okay, I'm going to start a fight with you. Sometimes let him have a little bit of a bad mood or let him feel his own frustration. You don't need to take his frustration away from him. Let him feel his own junk. Let him worry about sabotaging the relationship. Don't try to save him from all of that. If he's made a mistake, give him the space to realize his mistake. Don't correct his mistake by starting a fight. I'm not saying that you can never fight or never have conflict, but I'm saying give him a little bit of space to feel his way through the situation and not turn it into a big fight or an argument, because he's trying to learn you, you're trying to learn him. So give him a little space to quote unquote mess up, meaning maybe he's in a bad mood and he snaps a little bit. Okay, you can let some things go. I hope this helps someone today. My goal was to not do the typical, if he's playing games with you, get over it. That's not easy to do. You have to work through that. You may have to forgive yourself. You may act out some because you want to use those situations to figure out what it is that you need and what you want in a relationship for it to feel good to you. And the other thing is, if he pulls back a little bit, it might help the relationship. That's another intuitive way of thinking about it, because you might think, oh, I want him to be perfectly there and always next to me and always available and always. Yes, you want him to be that most of the time, but him pulling back a little bit can make him more attractive to you, actually. So you may think you hate that, but you might need a little bit of that in order. It can kind of keep the relationship moving forward and on its toes a little bit, rather than falling into a place of complacency. Now I'm just taking him for granted because he's always perfectly there, perfectly consistent. For somebody with fearful avoidant, you might need just a touch of him pulling back a little bit every now and then so that you can have time to self-evaluate, to heal, to calm down, to try on a different way of doing things. So it may not be all bad. And biblically speaking, it says the woman will something like seek after the man anyway because of the fall of Adam and Eve. It's in Genesis. So you may want to check that out. It's something about the way a guy does things that you may always have a little bit of quote unquote wanting after him. I think that's how it's stated in the Bible. Some of that is the fall of man. So I hope this helped you in a different sort of way. Give me feedback. I am figuring this out with you, and I'm just sharing this journey with you. So I might be getting some things wrong. If I am, correct me in the comments. It's cool. So check out my books written from a fearful avoidance standpoint. Flip the Script on Love. I think it will help you because it helped me. And I wrote a book on narcissism because sometimes fearful avoidance can get attached to narcissists. You do not want to do that. And one way to heal from that and not attract that type of energy is to heal from it, is to read my book about it so that it will help you.
Hey YouTube fam, I have some exciting news. I've recently written a book called From ENFJ with Love, Unveiling the Secrets of the 16 Myers-Briggs Personality Types by Tamara Zyon. This book is a deep dive into the fascinating world of personality types with a dedicated chapter for each of the 16 Myers-Briggs types, including yours. If you're eager to gain a deeper understanding of yourself and others and uncover the secrets behind these personality types, then my book is a must-read for you. You can find the book in both paperback and ebook format on Amazon.